AD, baby. Been hunting this bear all week.
I grunted at him. He come running back in. We just smoked another giant.
Just an absolute giant, lifetime bull for me.
Team 200 is presented by MoonGuide. Plan your best hunt.
If anybody's got a big buck magnet attached to their tree stand, it's got to be Kris Seymour. I mean, you know, every year the guy's after giant bucks.
Seymour, the one thing that really sticks out in my mind about him is he's kind of a scientist when it comes to whitetail hunting. He's killed some giants.
He can find the deer. He finds the bucks. The man can absolutely find them.
The guy is always smiling. He's hunting mature whitetail and he's having a great time doing it.
He's our decoy guru. He don't go to the woods without it.
You know, the guy thinks out of the box. The guy's not afraid to get aggressive. The guy's not afraid to climb out of his tree and go make it happen.
Stalked within 20 yards and sealed the deal on one of the biggest non-typicals I've ever seen.
I think one of Kris's main reasons for success is his diligence with his trail cameras. The guy runs 40 or 50 trail cams all over the place. He spends countless hours checking his cards on a computer. He probably spends twice as much time running and checking trail cams as he does hunting.
The key.
It definitely doesn't hurt living in a big buck mecca like Northeast Kansas, but it never ceases to amaze me, all the giant deer that Kris Seymour is after year after year.
The one thing about Kris that sets him off from the rest of us is he is an outfitter.
He works all day as a teacher by day. He has his outfitting business. Always finds time, that little window that he knows that he's got to be in his spot, and he always finds time to get it done.
I can't handle this. I'm about ready to go shoot a deer. Where's your book bag?
So whenever he's trying to balance outfitting, family,
Look at that smile.
teaching school, he's also hunting mature whitetails, and he gets it done.
Check this out. Got the buck decoy set right here. If they can see it, they will come. And you know that on a field, but in the woods, same thing. You know, you grunt, you snort, wheeze. The buck was looking, you know, where's it at? You know, it was harder for him to see, but when he saw it, total commitment. It gave me a 20-yard shot. We're gonna check over here. I'm pretty sure the buck went down on this hillside. This is the one, man. I got history with this buck. This deer's all of 160. Perfect morning. Man, this giant decides to step out. I got history with this buck last rut, and he is a giant. By passing younger, immature animals, and it's gonna require you to spend more time in the field. And again, it's just gonna make you a better hunter in the long run, and the reward is gonna be that much greater.
Oh my God, that's a nice buck. 150-inch 10-pointer. We got pictures of him.
Late season, I came in and we had an awesome hunt tonight.
You know, the guy thinks out of the box. The guy's not afraid to get aggressive. He's going to do whatever he has to do to make it happen.
I saw this monster with the doe in the field and decided I think I could get a pretty good stalk on it. My first 200-inch deer is a prime example of thinking outside the box and kind of doing something different. I located this buck from the road mid-morning, just started videotaping him, and it kind of dawned on me, I just need to go after this buck. So I kind of circled around, got in position, probably about 30 minutes elapsed time, and relocated the buck in its bed and put a great stalk on him. Made an awesome hit, awesome shot on the buck. And next thing I know, I got a 200-inch deer on my wall because I wasn't just sitting around in a tree stand waiting for it to happen.
I can't believe it. We've got a giant deer on the ground. By far the biggest buck I've ever killed.
And I had his onyx pointed. He didn't pick up anything. gave me a 30-yard shot.
Thank God I have enough Sonics.
Start seeing more deer more often and closer than you ever thought possible with Ozonics. Ozonics is the only product that actively and continually attacks game spooking odor in the downwind airstream during your entire hunt, allowing you to beat an animal's #1 defense, its nose.
I got off work at 3, I'm a teacher, and so we're just pushing time and we're hoping everything works out. He's happy to see his daddy. I think having a family and a full-time job or one or the other is good for a hunter. It allows you to hunt in moderation. It allows you to take breaks. And at the end, it kind of makes you appreciate the hunt that much more because you're not spending all your time doing it.
He's the only Kansas gangster I know that drives a Cavalier.
Cavalier always comes through. This day and age of gas.
Kris, one thing about Kris, the first thing that comes to mind of me is decoy. He don't go to the woods without it. He's a decoy guru.
Stay tuned. It's gonna get good.
I think one of the main keys to Kris's success, he's not afraid to try different things and he's not afraid to fail.
I think we're in the zone. Just rattled in a big deer.
We're on a hunt that morning and we noticed all the action was happening 200 yards below us down in the crop field. And instead of just going back to the same stand that night, we decided to pull our set, get down where the party was happening, because that's where all the deer were kind of doing their thing and we needed to get in the zone.
The lone wolves are hung. I'm only hunting 4 feet off the ground tonight in the same stand I killed my buck last year.
Found a tree that worked, only got 4 feet off the ground, but had a brush pile behind me for breakup. And again, I didn't look for the perfect tree, but I found the zone I needed to be in.
Hunting with a decoy can be extremely, extremely exciting. I mean, when you fool a big buck and he spots that decoy and you see those ears lay back and you see him cock his head and he starts coming in stiff-legged to that decoy, that to me is one of the most exciting parts of whitetail hunting.
There's nothing like watching a buck come out, get his attention with the horns. He gets to within 40 or 50 yards and you can see the snot and the drool dripping out of his mouth and his nose, and at this point you don't even know if you can keep yourself together to make the shot.
I'm all about the decoy. It makes better footage, it makes a more exciting hunt, and it allows you to get away with so much movement and maybe hunt in stands with a lot less breakup. We got the decoy out, hit the horns together that evening, and the rest is history. To be successful on killing big whitetails consistently, you better be prepared to put in a lot of time, a lot of scouting, and when the opportunity actually comes knocking on the door, that you're going to make it count.
Best shot I've ever made on a buck. We had the decoy, we had rattling, standing corn, persistence, cold weather, and you know what? I drew back twice and my arrow fell off my rest twice. Did you see that? The lone wolves came through 4 feet off the ground. It's not about height, baby. It's about the breakup and the wind.
When you got to make that move to get in tight on a big buck or change your location, there's no other adaptable tree stand that's more versatile than a lone wolf. The best time to hunt is definitely, I think, the 6th through the 10th. Get them before they get doed up. And it was on tonight, and he's been fighting. He's got chips in his horns. What a beautiful, beautiful buck.
Why are raw frozen scents better? No decomposition. The biggest advantage of raw frozen scents is that they freeze the deer urine and they keep it smelling like real deer in the woods. Deer urine has living organisms in it, so freezing is the only way to keep it fresh and real. Refrigeration does not keep deer urine fresh. It must stay frozen until you take it in the field. When raw was tested on scent wicks, side by side with another leading scent brand, the average amount of time spent by multiple bucks was 266 seconds versus only 5 seconds for the leading brand. That's 53 times more interest in raw. Always fresh, no water, no preservatives, and 100% money back guarantee.
As an avid shed hunter, you're always looking for that shed of a lifetime. I was nearing the end of my shed season, and of course I put a lot of shoe leather down that year, and I just wanted to find a big set, that Boone & Crockett or bigger type antler, that all shed that you pick up in your hand. I got permission on a new farm, went into it, did the typical south facing slopes, out of the northwest wind type cover, looking for that perfect antler, and I walked up upon a giant right antler that just stuck out like a sore thumb, and it was that shed of a lifetime. I picked it up, and no sooner do I look over to my left, and there's another antler about 20 yards away. In that moment I knew, okay, I had something special here. I couldn't wait for the next step. I couldn't wait for summer to come to locate this buck. Anytime you pick up a new piece of property, you're kind of developing a game plan for the fall, but in the summer, you want to get some mineral sites out. Choosing those sites are important. For me, I like to do outside in with minerals, kind of like you do tree stand early season. You don't want to go blowing all the deer out of your property just to check a trail camera on a mineral. So I kind of keep them close to the road or some type of easy trail access I know I'm not going to be bumping the deer out of. Late July, I come around and check the camera as usual, and just the most beautiful velvet non-typical buck ever was on camera in front of my face on my laptop screen. Just kind of took my breath away. I'm sitting there staring at this thing, and before you know it, I'm like, wait a second, I actually get to hunt this animal. So not more than 20 minutes goes by, pull the card out, put it in, circle around the section, and that very same buck runs across the road in front of me, and I got to actually see him on the hoof. And I just knew at that moment it was on, and I was chasing a giant 200 class animal.
Trying to get some footage of the giant, the Dark Knight himself. I want to get some velvet footage. It's a perfect win tonight. I'm going for it. I know he's in there because I saw him yesterday because he ran in front of my car. We'll see if he comes out tonight. This is a hidden clover and bean field.
So after checking multiple cameras and finally kind of putting pieces of the puzzle together how this buck was moving, another giant shows up with him. And so now I got 2 Boone & Crockett 200 plus inch deer to hunt. And at that moment, I'm just like, wow, I mean, it's hard enough to find one, and now I got 2 giants. Talk about doubling your odds to killing a 200-inch deer.
For over 2 decades, the MoonGuide has been the #1 rated tool for serious hunters, telling you when giant whitetails will move and where you need to hunt. Now, you can accurately predict the best days and times to catch a big buck moving during daylight with the Deer Hunter's MoonGuide. Are you tired of hunting nocturnal trail camera bucks? Do you ever wonder why some bucks only show up during daylight on certain days each year? The Deer Hunter's MoonGuide is here to help, and it's unlike any other lunar tool you've ever seen. For effective preseason scouting, scheduling time off work, planning out-of-state hunts, and increasing your overall hunting success, simply check the MoonGuide's calendar to find the best days, times, and hunting locations to catch a mature deer on his feet during daylight hours. The MoonGuide is now available as a mobile app too, giving you exclusive tips from the pros, local weather, the rut guide, exclusive discounts, and the deadly red moon data. Plan your best hunt at moonguide.com.
So I'm going through trail cam photo after trail cam photo of these 2 giants, and I'm starting to realize that one definitely is acting a little bit more mature and more dominant than the other one. But I mean, how rare is it? You got 2 giants on camera and you can study their racks. You got a non-typical freak, and you got this big typical framed world-class 8-pointer that's got trash all over it. And you're just sitting there making comparisons. Wow, which one would I shoot? Well, the answer's simple, the first one that steps out. All right, we're rolling in the cavy. This is how we roll. We throw the big bucks in the back of this baby. The muzzleloader season had been open for about a week, 4 or 5 days. I was hunting hard and still getting photos of both big bucks, but just wasn't seeing any of the deer. I had a good moon, but I just think I needed to get closer to the bedding area. So, after about a week of hunting, I just made a decision. We need to get in closer. We need to get in the brush and make a move on one of these bucks. So we decided to pull our stands that night and just circle around where we thought everything was coming and going from the bedding area. And sure enough, we found a nice little tree that overlooked it.
We got a little tree right here, that's all we can get up in, so this is gonna have to do. It's gonna give us our vantage point to see where we wanted to.
Got up in it, and it wasn't about 5 minutes before Ryan tapped on my shoulder and said, "There he is. He's right there 100 yards away."
We got the buck bedded up right there. Debating whether with this wind to just go up and try and get him up and shoot him. He's probably 100 yards away. I need to range him.
The wind was blowing so hard, I couldn't get a shot. That deer was only 100 yards away, but it just wasn't gonna happen. The tree was too small, and we were just swaying back and forth. I looked at Ryan, I said, "I'm going." I did this once before on a 200, why can't I do it again? So I climbed down that tree. I looked across the valley. I marked a couple of cedars where I thought that deer was, hanging out by, and just marched over there. And I just was determined to get to where I wanted to be. I didn't care about my noise because the wind was just loud. So I just bulldozed through thorns, brush, got to where I needed to be, relocated the buck at 20 yards. Big, non-typical buck of a lifetime at 20 yards. Again, being aggressive, just kind of doing something different. I said, I'm just gonna step out of this cedar and let him see me, and hopefully he'll just expose his vitals and raise his head and give me the shot I need. I don't know what that deer was thinking, but he looked at me like, "What are you doing in my bed?" The buck ran off. I'm looking at smoke, and all I see is a tail hopping away. So after my shot, I kind of look back at Ryan. He comes down over to me. We find a little bit of sign, a little bit of blood, but it just wasn't enough to keep on the trail. So we decided to back out and come back the next morning.
I thought I put it right behind his shoulder, but
we've been looking all day, didn't have very good blood. And finally I came up on the top of this hill, just got kind of blasted in the face with dead deer smell. And my buck's right here. Let's freaking look, dude. Yes! My gosh. I've said it before, if you see a giant and you don't think you're gonna get an opportunity, you need to make one happen. And I've done it twice now, and you can see it's definitely paid off. Drop time, he's just got it all. And I hope after watching some of these hunts and listening to me tell some of these stories, I've been fortunate. I was able to kill 2 200-inch deer, and it wasn't the typical way of doing it. I had to make it happen. And I'll tell you, one way to get on these big bucks is the use of game cameras. It's nothing like having a loyal friend or cameraman with you that you can trust. Ryan's been that guy for me, and it's paid off big on some of these awesome kills I've had on video. So get your cameras out there, boys and girls.